Ready?
All right, well, welcome to One Bridge Digital Design, Johnny. Um, what can you tell me about yourself?
So I am Johnny Petro, and I am formerly a graduate of Tri-C and the University of Akron. And I majored in graphic design, and that was my, beloved field that I've always wanted to be a part of. And I can see myself growing and maturing in your company as far as having a long-term success. I've always loved fonts and working with different colors and rearranging text and images together to create a good message that will last a lifetime.
Okay. Um, so, why, why have you chosen this field as your career?
Thank you for asking me that question. So, I chose this career because I've had a bunch of freelance opportunities, and one of them was I had this uh, contest I was trying to get in touch with, and it was called a yearbook cover. And so once I got to participate in that, I made this cool design of an outburst with stars shooting out of it. And it was, I had the tagline, "Give the success to the world." I colored it and typed out. So I submitted that design to the yearbook cover committee. They approved it and they loved it, and it was chosen as the front cover of the yearbook.
Oh, good. So that success led you to further explore the field?
That's true. And
Okay,
also getting a degree was helpful to that as well.
okay. Johnny, can you tell me why you left your last job in graphic designing?
I wanted to have a solid foundation, a creative foundation in artistry, and unfortunately, there was no room to grow in that. So I'm choosing this job here to so I can grow up and be a lot more of a have a long-term success role with your firm, whereas opposed to have a foundation with it, because that's everyone mostly starts at the bottom, and I started at the top in that last role I had. And so with this role I can do a whole lot better.
Okay. Um, so you talked about no room to grow in that job. What did you mean by that at your last job?
I wanted to follow the requirements, and there, since I learned now that the design field has a lot of production designing, and they wanted me to have they wanted me to be very fast and have close attention to detail. This is how I learned. I wanted to show that I can have that type of aspect and not be so far behind in my assignments I'm given. And so now that I learned, not to have that anymore.
Okay. All right. So Johnny, can you tell me what one of your strengths are, or one or more strengths are?
Yes, one of my best strengths is you know, that is my strong work motivation, attention to detail, as far as I know. And one of my strengths of the area I used that in was when I was doing that album cover, I had to pay close attention, to all the text and the image that was placed in the jewel case. And I was doing this for 1 hour, and the client wanted it to be done right as he was finished recording the music. So I went ahead, I set up the InDesign file, I placed all the images in, which was the seascape, and then the text said his name and then Deep Blue Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it covered a lot of great results, and then he was able to perform well with his brand and his group that had my imagery on the face of his cover.
Okay. Do you have a weakness that you need to work on?
So the weakness that I've always wanted to turn into a strength is my patience and determination within, within the market and within, this type of field, because, I was always, told about uncertainty and all that. And with having patience on what gets thrown to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so here's how I take on that.
Okay.
Uh, I tend to have good motivational skills with that by just trying to have a little bit more flexibility and play some soft music or do some yoga to help soothe my mind, calm me down, and drink some water every now and again, very frequently. And that's what helps me get along well with people. It helps me be patient with a job and seeking the good fit for what I want, and that'll help me be a good asset to your firm.
Very good. So let's talk about your design process. Can you describe your creative process? Like how you come up with a concept and then complete that from that concept that you have?
Would you like to repeat that?
Yes. Describe your creative process from concept to completion in digital design.
So, my process goes from the sketching stage, where I have to sketch very little details in just pencil and paper, and then I take that to the next stage, which is where I brainstorm, the mind maps, and then I take that over to where I have to branch out all the words inside a different word, and then I have to take that and go into the design phase where I have to, you know, digitize that entire design with the words in it, and then I have to experiment with the colors, and then once I do that, then I take and put it through the printing process where I have to get the file set up for printing, and then it goes straight to the customer or client, and then it gets approved and ready.
Would you say that in any of that process, you're collaborating with the client to see that the progress you're making is the way they would want that to go, and making alterations if they say they would like something different? Would that be part of your process?
So, yes, it's a part of my process too. And I work really well with a team. And,
Okay.
and one time, when I was working with someone on a design, they wanted, the customer wanted the left chest of their, shirt or whatever to be changed to a specific. Uh, they wanted the font to be changed to Helvetica since they thought the font was too sloppy and a little difficult to
Mm-hmm.
read and illegible. So I went and fixed that and turned, that sloppy serif font from, you know, brush script until Helvetica, and then it was a lot more readable, and it was easy for them to get to a press.
Okay. Um, how would you describe your design style? Like what inspires you to when you're creating to come up with your style? Is there anything behind that? Like what are you passionate about in your designing?
What I'm passionate about is mostly, the small icons that I can turn into very big, huge designs. For example, when I was, the yearbook, I took that small shooting star and turned it into an outburst for the cover, and I used almost the same thing for my packaging design with the mac and cheese boxes in my portfolio. And so I continue to get inspired by using other resources like Pinterest to help me see what the trends are in designs and
Mm-hmm.
what's being used and what font styles and what colors that are trending today. And that's how I use the inspiration and incorporate it into my work.
Okay, very good. Um, What design software are you proficient in?
Well, thanks for asking me that question. So my design software is a wide range of the Adobe Creative Suite and a little bit of Microsoft Office and Word and that whole entire Office suite. So I use that in a variety of my assignments, and then I also incorporate a little bit of HTML. And I know it's not required, but it's a helpful thing for me to know if I'm problem solving in a design aspect.
Is there any specific design software that you worked with when you were getting in college and getting your degree?
So, yes, there were other assignments that utilized my software packages. So, I got to work with a little bit of video for a bit, and that was when my instructor was out sick for 3 weeks and I had to work on my own. And the assignment was called Night of All Nights. I had to make a video, and then I had to take the camera to a graveyard setting, take pictures and videos, upload to After Effects, and then YouTube. And he came back and saw my progress, and I have a lot to offer, he said.
Okay. Can you describe a time when you had to compromise your design to meet the client's demands? I know you talked about the chest and the font. Was there any other times that you had to compromise your design for the client?
So, the way I compromise the designs is I learned a lot from my mistakes when dealing with what the client pretty much wants.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time and period in my life, and I'll keep this short. Is there was a poster assigned to me, and I had to make a creative design called Bauhaus, but here I forgot to do the research because I wanted to go in an artistic creative direction, and so I went ahead. I overcomplicated the poster. I posted the graphic artist graphic to the right off center. I put every type sentence on an angle. I placed the lines in every where I wanted it to. And this made the client teacher upset when I had that. So I know that it's wrong to be overly creative sometimes, and so she told me to look at some examples from Google. And so I went ahead and did that, and then I narrowed the design down to 2 colors, and this solved the problem for that client.
Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you for your time, Johnny, and we will be keeping in touch after we do all of our interviews. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.